welcome to the Vanarama National League highlight show on BT Sport. As the top of the table continues to yo-yo between clubs, we have 31 goals to bring you, plus all the reaction from England's 5th tier. Here's what's coming up on the show. The Shots fire themselves back to the top. Sutton are left furious as Woking claims Surrey bragging rights. And Torquay's wait for a win continues. Hartlepool and Leyton Orient were both huge favourites for promotion after relegation from League Two last season. Before their match, we sent our cameras to the northeast to see how much had changed since Hartlepool's final day heartbreak in May, and how new manager Craig Harrison looks to rekindle the kind of success achieved under a former footballing legend.
Who said, when talking about Hartlepool, "I don't fancy that place," then took the job anyway?
Oh, it's got to be Brian Clough, hasn't it? Yeah. Long time ago. That was a long, long time ago.
Show me somebody who's liked by everybody, and I'll show you somebody who's wrong.
The great Brian Clough engraved himself with the town, engraved himself with the people. 2008 celebrated centenary, and since then it's been pretty much on a steady downward spiral.
For the neutral, it must have been brilliant. 90th minute sucker punch that's ended up sending us down elsewhere. So when it's out of your hands like that, it's devastating.
The new owners, the current owners, have steadied the ship. New manager came in who wants to be here, who's enthusiastic, who's passionate.
I really enjoyed my time with TNS and had some fantastic experiences, winning a lot of things, having experienced the Champions League as a manager.
He broke all sorts of records, won 6 league titles, and doesn't matter what level you're playing at, that's always a great achievement.
It's hard work. It's having high standards and having good competition and every single day trying to make yourself better.
I think we had a bit of a slow start, but I think that was just adapting to the league maybe everyone getting to know each other, but we're not getting carried away. It's only 4 games that we've been on the run. So
last Saturday's victory over Dagenham was a real turning point for me. For a few players in that dressing room, it was a bit of a reality check, and now the penny's dropped. They realise what it's all about, so they're having a go now.
In league football, they tend to keep possession a lot more. So as a defender, I was sort of going side to side a bit more. Now I'm going forward and backwards a lot more.
The personal goals is to get back in the Football League as soon as possible, and hopefully it'll be this year. That is the personal goal, and that's the club goal.
But we feel like we've turned a corner, and we have more of an identity now in how we play.
The football club is a focal point for the town. It's a real beacon, and when the team's doing well, there's no better feeling around the town.
So, could Craig Harrison's side take 3 points back to the northeast and continue their climb up the table? Or would Leyton Orient taste victory again after back-to-back defeats? Your commentary for this one comes from Adam Virgo and first Adam Somerton.
Sandals White with the header clear, flicked on by Mooney to Macaulay-Bonne. And now Josh Caroma. Mooney's made a really clever run and he's been found as well. Great opportunity, and it's a fabulous save. McAnuff! Orient in front of Brisbane Road, and it's Joby McAnuff who gets it. His first goal of the season for the O's.
Side foots it perfectly past Scott Loach after he made an excellent save. It's a really good finish from him.
It's up towards Bonne, and the flag has stayed down. It's sat up to be hit. Oh, and he did hit it, and he hit the post as well. Oh, how close to a second.
Slows himself down just before he strikes it. Sometimes you can actually strike it too well.
It wasn't the worst ball, it was cleared by Bonne. Hawkins with the cross. And they're causing problems, and they're level. Hartlepool in added time at the end of the first half.
Stays in his position, and when it comes to him, strikes it brilliantly. Leaves Charlie Granger without any chance of keeping that out.
Chance to threaten from this free kick as well for Hartlepool. Ledger and Watson, the centre halves, up from the back. And it went from Deverdix, great ball, and the header's in. And they're in front, it's Rhys Oates.
Gets goal side, Rhys Oates. And with a cross like that, you just got to get a little bit of contact on it and direct it towards goal.
Rhys Oates with his first league goal of the season. Here's Woods, and Donaldson wants it, and Donaldson gets it. The referee's allowed the advantage, and it's almost crept in. So close. Devedix with the first-time pass. It's headed clear by Sandals White up to Bond, who now looks to combine with Sam Dolby. What a good ball through that is, and it's Karoma! Well, it's offside, it won't count.
Just times his run slightly too early. Take nothing away from the finish, though.
Macaulay Bond helps it on, and Bocco's there, and Ledger's there for Hartlepool. Lawless and Hawkins jump for it, and there's the final whistle. Hartlepool take the points. 5 games without defeat now, the Craig Harrison side, and they've won 4 of them.
It was tough at times, you know, how to defend, how to be organised, how to be patient, you know, and trust in the game plan. You know, and obviously the game plan wasn't to go 1-0 down, it was to try and get in as half-time 0-0. You know, it didn't, but what a time to score, you know, just before half-time. It gives a little bit of a different team talk at half-time. It just gives the lads a bit more belief and to get on the front foot a little bit more and obviously come out the second half and score within 5 minutes, and, you know, then the game plan kicks in again.
Aldershot were the latest to challenge Gateshead's unbeaten record at the Gateshead International Stadium. Neil Aspin's men defeated Chester on Tuesday in a 5-goal epic. The closest either side came to an opener in the first half involved the home team's Danny Johnson. Despite supporter encouragement, he fired wide from the edge of the area. Gateshead's top scorer this season's own goal. With 5 goals in an effort to change this, Callum Williams' creativity turned into an opportunity for JJ O'Donnell. Finally, with 7 minutes to go, a decisive moment in the northeast. A weak attempt at clearing a shots corner from Dan Hamford fell to Fabien Robert, 1-0 to Aldershot. A second victory on the road in 5 days sees Gary Waddock's men return to the top of the league.
Dover know it's tough at the top. They spent just 3 days leading the table before dropping 4 places following their home defeat against Boreham Wood. They were looking to bounce back against Chester, who were chasing their second win of the season. The visitors hadn't kept a clean sheet in 8 games. Giancarlo Galifuoco made that 9 when he headed in Mitch Brundle's corner. That's his second in 3 games. The Blues caretaker boss Tom Shaw was hoping to sign off in style as he prepares to hand the reins to a new manager. It was still all to play for going into the second half until Mitchell Pinnock set the ball rolling for a rout. Dover were well on their way to delivering their second home win when Norte made it 3-0. The former Chelsea youngster well placed to open his account for the Whites since joining from Solihull Moors in the summer. After being instrumental in the 3rd goal, substitute Tobisho Silva was at it again with just 7 minutes to play. His shot was saved by Alex Lynch, but the number 9 got his 2nd assist of the game, teeing up Brundle, who helped send Dover back up to 2nd as they delivered Chester's heaviest defeat in over 18 months.
There may be only 21 miles between Woking and Sutton United, but ahead of this neighbours clash, the 2 southern clubs were far apart in the league table. Woking 14th, looking up to the leaders Sutton. A few minutes in at Kingfield, a Dan Spence cross found Tommy Wright, his header kept out by Nathan Baxter. Sutton's number 1 was being kept busy. After stopping a Simon Walton free kick, Wright was again denied by the keeper, who's on loan from Chelsea. Moments before the break, the visitors felt Aswad Thomas was brought down by Jason Banton. No penalty awarded by Chris Pollard. The referee in Surrey continued to be centre of attention in the second half. A Woking attack was worked towards goal by Josh Staunton, hitting Kane Ferdinand before being forced over the line by Regan Charles Cook. 1-0 to Anthony Limbrick's men. Sutton's appeals to the match officials were turned down. Then 7 minutes into added time, the hosts added another as Charles Cook and Ini Effiong combined on the counter-attack. Charles Cook's on loan from Charlton at Woking. Their 5th win in 6 home games takes them to 10th. Paul Doswell is not a happy Sutton boss.
The referee's decision on 2 parts of the game changed it all. I think we should have had a clear penalty in the first half, and we had Woking's first goal was a mile offside. We've just watched it back on our own film, and both situations were exactly as we saw them. And when you go 1-0 down, you end up chasing the game. Woking score 5 minutes into the second half, and it gives them that bit to hold on to. I thought they wasted time as well for a lot of the second half. That's why we got 7 minutes. It's probably a credit to us that they felt that that's what they needed to do to win the game.
Halifax have been quite the surprise package this season since returning to England's 5th tier. Managed by Billy Heath, the Shamen have gathered momentum, going 6 games unbeaten, including a 3-0 thrashing of promotion favourites Leyton Orient on Tuesday. That run propelled them into 2nd place, and with Heath's men yet to lose on their travels this season, it was up to Dagenham and Redbridge to halt their run. 6 promotions, 3 relegations and even administration have happened since these two sides last met in the league, but they came into the game separated by just 2 points. The visitors had managed to keep a clean sheet in all 5 away games. That record was broken when Corey Whiteley's corner was headed in by Craig Robson, his first goal for over a year. 5 minutes later, that man Whiteley was involved again, this time getting on the score sheet himself. The club's player of the season last year, picking up the ball from Morgan Ferrier, his shot directed in off the post. His 8th this season makes him the league's leading marksman. John Still's side were responding after losing back-to-back games, and they found themselves well in control at the break, albeit the 3rd goal was handed to them when Ferrier's cross took a deflection off Scott Garner. 3-0 at half-time. The Shamen were staring at their first defeat in 7 when captain Matty Brown pulled one back, but it was only a consolation in the end. Their manager forced to concede that the better side won.
You know, if you put back-to-back wins in this league, but we've managed to get more than that. But no, the players have been magnificent. Today we just come up against a very, very good side, and we couldn't reach the heights that we have been in the last 4 or 5 games. And if you can't reach the heights, the last team you want to play is Dagenham.
Maidstone went to Macclesfield on the back of 2 league victories in a row, including a 1-0 away win in midweek at Eastleigh. Mac on Tuesday defeated Fylde 2-1 at home. The visitors wasted little time testing John Askey's defence. 11 minutes in, Zavon Hines got hold of the ball outside of the area, hitting in an unstoppable low shot into the bottom corner, 1-0 to Maidstone. Just over 10 minutes later, Macclesfield were on the back foot once again. A Gyrezen cross wasn't cleared, falling eventually to Alex Winter, who got the better of Shwan Jalal. 2 goals already this season. It's the best return of Winter's career. Into the second half, Maidstone were in control in Cheshire. Hines' first goal was intentional class. On this occasion, the England under-21 international needed a deflection to once again get the better of Jalal. 3-0 with half an hour to go. A bad afternoon was to get worse before it got better for Mac. Joe Piggott tried his luck with a quarter of an hour left. It was the former Charlton striker's 4th of the season. After conceding for the 14th time in the National League, Macclesfield did pull one back. A smart finish from the untracked Kobe Arthur made it 4-1 at Moss Rose, Mac's biggest defeat of the season, as Maidstone move up 6 places into a playoff position.
After the break, a first match in charge for Torquay's new boss. And we have our top 3 goals from midweek. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Vanarama National League highlight show on BT Sport. All sides played in midweek where there were 26 goals. Here's some of our favourites. Road and 2 teams with something to smile about. Maidenhead had beaten league favourites Tranmere on Tuesday night, while at the same time Boreham Wood were knocking Dover off the top spot with a 1-0 win at the Crabble. Adrian Clifton was the first to cause the upset, becoming the first to beat Grant Smith, but only just. His first shot cleared off the line, but his second attempt was deemed to have crossed it by referee Neil Hare and his assistant. Luke Garrard's side had conceded the most of the top 7 teams going into the game, and they were 2-0 down just after the hour mark. Ryan Upwood's ball finding its way to the back of the net for his second in as many games. The visitors managed to halve the deficit just before the final whistle. Mark Ricketts with a powerful header and his first league goal for the club. But it was too late. Back-to-back wins for Maidenhead, sending Boreham home empty-handed.
It was poor. I felt it was poor. I felt that we didn't get around the park. I felt they looked fitter, stronger, and that's something that I've not said all season. I thought they had good legs about them. We spoke about how strong they are at set pieces, areas, play their pitch ever so well, and I felt that they did so today.
Guiseley were the visitors to North Wales. They'd also drawn their last 2 0-0, the first 2 matches in charge for new boss Paul Cox. Wrexham looked out to their left side moving forward early on. Sam Wedgbury played a key role in delivering a chance for either Chris Holroyd or Scott Bowden. At least Bowden got a touch on the ball but still sent it wide. Then as the home side struggled to completely clear out from defence, John Rooney set up Lee Molyneux, but he failed to test the Wrexham keeper Chris Dunn. Still less than half an hour in at the world's oldest international football stadium, a Portuguese opener, a scramble inside the home team's box led to a Will Hatfield shot, which was deflected in by Correa. For this Raul, it's a first professional goal. The visitors should have extended their lead immediately after half-time. A threatening Rooney corner went over after bouncing off Correa on the line. Wrexham then went close. Paul Rutherford's delivery flicked towards goal by Holroyd, saved by Joe Green. Home supporters spent a significant portion of the second half getting frustrated at what they thought was time wasting by Guiseley. Deep into added time, a hurried clearance fell to Wedgbury. A stunning effort from him made it 1-1 in the 96th minute. Wrexham then make it to 6 matches without losing. Gutted Guiseley have failed to win in 6.
Disappointing at home, take a point. We knew they were going to be strong, organised, disciplined, and they were going to sit in. And for long periods, we didn't move the ball with the intensity it needed to be to break them down.
More than 3,000 people packed the Silver Lake Stadium to see the first ever meeting between Eastleigh and Fylde. Richard Hill had urged his side to be more clinical after going another game without scoring in midweek. Meanwhile, the visitors were after their first win in 4 games. Reader Johnson responded first to his manager's call, his header beating debutant Jay Lynch in the Fylde goal. The Coasters have scored in every game so far this season, so it was no surprise when they equalised. Danny Rose saw his shot saved, the keeper only clearing as far as Henry Jones though, who joined his teammate with 4 for the season. Into the second half and the Spitfires took the lead again. Mark Yates with the ball over the top to former Leeds winger Gary McSheffrey, who in turn lifted it over Lynch to score his first for the club. An hour gone and the pendulum swung again. Jordan Tunnicliffe eventually taking care of Jones's free kick to score his first goal since joining from Kidderminster in the summer. 2-2, but it could have been 3 each had it not been for the woodwork. First Rose saw his thunderous shot cannon off the post before Johnson's bullet header hit the crossbar at the other end. No stoppage time heartbreak for Fylde this time then, as they twice came from behind to deny Eastleigh, who are now without a win in 6.
Bromley were going for their second home win of the week, but they were up against Solihull Moors, who defeated them 1-0 in both of last season's fixtures. In the second half in the capital, the threatening Luke Wanadio attacked the opposition defence, crossing into the path of Jordan Liebird, who had keeper Nathan Vaughan to thank for no own goal. There was also a calm, composed effort from Frankie Sutherland from distance. Time was running out at Hayes Lane. With 2 minutes to go, Iffy Allen found George Porter. There was nothing iffy about the assist or the goal. Vaughan was finally beaten as Bromley make it 3 games without a defeat. Plus, they've also got a first clean sheet in 6.
Brought on 3 forwards because I wanted to go and get the win. And every one of the subs made an impact. You know, Louis, Iffy, and obviously George for the winning goal. But you know, that's what we've got. We've got that little bit of strength on the bench that can come on and hopefully change the game.
Torquay United appointed Bath City boss Gary Owers as their new manager on Wednesday, replacing the sacked Kevin Nicholson. The former Plymouth, Aldershot and Gateshead coach once managed Forest Green Rovers at this level, but his remit this time is simple: drag his side off the foot of the table. The Bluebirds, themselves still searching for a new manager, were unbeaten at Holker Street with 2 wins and 3 draws. So a tough task for the Gulls if they were to impress the new boss with their first win on the road. But they couldn't have asked for a better start. Just 6 minutes were on the clock when James Gray converted the first chance of the game, drilling his shot low into the bottom right-hand corner for his second goal of the season. Into the second half and Torquay nearly made it 2-0. Mishia Fete making the yards before spotting Jamie Reid in space for him to shoot on the edge of the box. Stuart Moore at full stretch to keep it out. The visitors were on the verge of their first win of the season with seconds to spare. Cue Barrow to break their hearts. Byron Harrison, last season's top goal scorer, breaking his duck as well. Torquay couldn't hold on as their tie with Barrow ended in a draw for the 4th game in a row. But they take their first point on the road, something for their new boss to build on.
It would have been nice to get the 3. 92nd minute is gut-wrenching, and I feel the disappointment of the players myself. But I thought there were, signs that we were a little bit better today, and if we get 3 points next week at home against Macclesfield, then it's been a better result today. We need to win a game quickly. We've got to catch up the teams that are above us, and we're trying to make strides and improve things as quickly as possible.
A first ever clash between Tranmere and draw specialists Ebbsfleet, who lost this season for the first time midweek. A largely uneventful afternoon suddenly turned as Chris Bush was dragged back by Jay McEverley. The foul was given immediately, but Bush lashed out at McEverley and was perhaps fortunate to only get a yellow card along with McEverley. At the start of the second 45, Tranmere's Scotland international then manhandled Miles Weston. A foul this time against McEverley, who was sent off for the 6th time in his career. Ebbsfleet and Weston tried to capitalise on their man advantage, but Scott Davis did all he could to keep the clash level. Towards the end, James Norwood still had energy to run at the Ebbsfleet defence, forcing Nathan Ashmore into action. Tranmere failed to score again in the league, as Ebbsfleet make it 9 draws from 11.
The warning signs are there for Mickey Mellon's men. Tipped as favourites for the title, they're in miserable form, dropping to 17th. The appointment of Gary Owers will settle Torquay, but they still haven't won a single game this season and will need to arrest that at home to Macclesfield next Saturday. Aldershot retake their place at the summit of the National League table, but that's the 7th change at the top in as many weeks. There's only 3 points separating first place and 12th, and the only team to stay at the top longer than a week was Aldershot at the start of the season. Dover and Dagenham remain the closest challengers, but there's no way of knowing who will lead after next week. Time to mark the 4th of October in your diaries as we bring you more exclusively live Vanarama National League action. We're at Prenton Park as Tranmere Rovers welcome Leyton Orient to Merseyside. That's from 7 on BT Sport 1 and in glorious 4K. That's all for this week. We'll leave you with some of the best moments of Saturday. Don't worry, we'll be back very soon.